Noah Lyles was on a podcast. He was talking about all types of things. And then they got into a very interesting conversation about religion. And Noah Lyles, he opened up. I'm sorry for talking like that. He opened up for the first time ever. And he talked about his cult upbringing. And I want to talk about this. I thought this was very interesting. All right. So let's get into it. I think it was around the 20-minute mark. Be patient. Let me find it real fast. It's somewhere around here. Let me see.
Own journey, because I also lost like you. Everybody gets that idea of, is there really a God?
Okay, I think it's around this mark right here.
Anytime I feel that I get sidetracked, I always feel like I have a purpose, and sometimes the purpose that I want and the purpose that God has are different. And I have to remember that, because when I go after mine, it doesn't go as well. When I go after his, it goes very well, and it's better than I can imagine.
Yeah.
So anytime I get into that sidetrack, I'm like, all right, got to get back on the lane.
Because I remember going to church as a kid all the time.
Okay. Bear with me. I had it all set up. I think it's right here. Let's start right here.
Lived, and just how we've gone about handling our situations.
Where do you think you'd be without her?
Where would I be? I'd probably still be trying to convince the teachers that I'm not crazy.
He's talking about his mom, and now he's about to talk about religion.
I probably would be depressed, dealing with whatever school life I had been forced to go down. Of course, I know that no matter what, God would have put somebody in my life to lead me down the path, but it might have not just happened as fast.
Mm-hmm. You're religious.
Yes, I am Christian. And I'm a true believer that, God has everything for me. And I feel that is I feel like a lot of people will move through life not knowing the purpose that they have for them. And because of that, they get lost or sidetracked very easily. Anytime I feel that I get sidetracked, I always feel like I have a purpose. And sometimes the purpose that I want and the purpose that God has are different. And I have to remember that, because when I go after mine, it doesn't go as well. When I go after his, it goes very well. And it's better than I can imagine.
Yeah.
So anytime I get into that sidetrack, I'm like, all right, got to get back on the lane.
Because I remember going to church as a kid all the time. And then I kind of stopped when I got into like high school. So like for someone out there who kind of like foo-foos religion, Christianity, what do you say to them?
You know what's crazy? This is actually the first time that I've been in a podcast where we talked about religion. But I'm going to give my quick religious story. I actually grew up in a cult.
No way.
Well, it wasn't. It was a cult. It just wasn't at the level of, okay, we're going to drink the Kool-Aid.
Wild.
But it was it was super strict. All the moms had to be, homeschooling their kids, and the father was the head of the household. Yeah. And, the church told you who you could date, who you couldn't date. If you got married, it had to be through us, that type of behavior. We left, and that's why we moved to North Carolina, because we were going to start another church, only to figure out they wanted to do the same thing, except they wanted to be the head instead of not the tail.
Yeah.
So we left that. But that kind of really messed up my view in church, and it definitely messed up my mom's view. So it took her a long time, and even now she still struggles to trust churches in general, but she never lost her faith in the religion. And I think having instilled that in us at a young age, it made it easier for me to go throughout my own journey, because I also lost.
Exactly, Nick. That was my thought exactly, but we'll get to that.
Everybody gets that idea of, is there really a God? And something that I love is when I was young, she said, God says when you lack faith, ask for a test, and he will provide the test. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna ask for the test. I think I was in ninth grade. I wanted to make the World Youth team, and I got sick. I think, what did I get? It was something that was really contagious. It was the swine flu.
Yeah.
H1N1.
Yeah.
I got H1N1, and I was sick as a dog, and it was a week and a half before the trials to go to World Youth. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to make it out there and run and compete and run fast, because I've been training for, 2 weeks now. There's no way this is going to happen. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to ask for a test. I know this is selfish of me, but I'm going to ask for the test. God, if you can provide me a way to make this team, I'm not going to doubt it anymore that this is your plan. I made the team. I was the youngest person to make the team. And I made the team as an alternate, but got to run and made it all the way to being ranked 9th in the world. I was like, yeah.
I'm sold.
I'm sold. This is the and a lot of people, think that it has to be something, super. You have to, I don't know, be super into the church and super into the scriptures. It doesn't have to be that serious. It's a relationship between you and God. That's it.
Now, he done said a lot of things that are very interesting that we're going to talk about. But he just said, you don't have to be super into the church, number one. Number two, you don't have to be super into the scriptures. It's about your relationship with him. If you have a true, genuine relationship with God, you can't help but be in the book. You can't help but want to learn more about him. What are we talking about? It's just simply about the relationship. You don't even know God. You don't know. I understand what he's saying. Like, the Pharisees, they knew the word. They didn't know God. Okay, but you should still have a love for the scriptures. You should still want to be in the book, reading the scriptures, getting to know about your king. It's not simply about the relationship and whatever you make of it. That's selfish. That's not a true relationship. That's just, I'm going to extract what I want to extract from God. I'm going to get what I want from the genie in the bottle, and that's it. There's no sacrifice. There's no sacrifice. There's no discipline. I don't know. And then he said, yes, he was talking about, I grew up in a cult. I don't know. He didn't really go too deep into it, right? He was very surface level. I don't know if maybe more happened that he wasn't wanting to reveal. It definitely sounds like maybe there wasn't like an element of legalism that, might have been pushed a little bit. But from the standpoint of like homeschooling, like ain't nothing wrong with homeschooling. Like, my daughter's homeschooled. Ain't nothing wrong with homeschooling. I think it's actually preferred, especially in this world that we live in. I know it's not the option for everybody because not everybody is in a position where they're able to homeschool. Like, a lot of people, they're not able to just sit and just talk and, provide in the way that I am. I know I'm very fortunate to be in this position. It doesn't make any sense, right? Like, a lot of people actually have to get up in the morning, get dressed, go to work, and really grind out a shift and work. And so homeschool is not an option. I get it, but it's not a bad thing to homeschool your kid. To have the man be the head of the household, that's biblical. That's biblical. The man should be the head of the household. That's biblical. That's biblical. I forget what the other part. Oh, he also said the church told you who and who you shouldn't date. I would need more details. I mean, I would need to understand more of what specifically happened. That would be an amazing conversation. If I was ever able to have a conversation with Noah Lyles, that would be incredible. Because I would love to unpack that even deeper. And more specifically, I would love to know his current faith and his current belief and what that looks like. Because unfortunately, I'm not trying to hate on anybody. I'm not trying to bring anybody down. I think it's beautiful that he said that he's a believer. I don't know if he said Jesus or not. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back. Y'all got to let me know in the chat. I'm not sure if he said Jesus or not. But I think it's great that he's, said that he's a believer. But it does sound very surface level, lukewarm. And we were all in a similar position at one point in time. Well, not all of us. I can't say that. Not all of us. Not all of us. But I think we all had a point in our relationship with God where we went through a season of disobedience, of knowing what not to do, and we still did it. You know what I mean? And I think Noah Lyles is in a point in his life. He's experiencing so much success that I feel like the success might potentially be replacing God in his life, at least right now. And let me keep playing, and you'll understand why I said that.
It doesn't have to be between somebody else. It doesn't have to be what somebody has told you. It's a relationship between you and God and what you guys make of that. And that's how I view it. Because I don't have time to go to church every weekend. I got to run.
So you were talking about your mum, obviously, and in
that part right there. I don't have time to go to church every weekend. Okay. I mean, a relationship with God is more than just Sunday. It's more than just Sunday. It's more than just Sunday. It's more than just Sunday. But when he said, I got to run, that just kind of indicates to me that that's the main priority in his life right now. That's the thing that's making him a millionaire. That's the thing that's giving him everything that he has right now. So he thinks. So that's the things so running, his training, his profession, that's what's going to get the attention. That's what's going to get the time. That's what's going to get the energy. That's what's going to get the worship. That's what's going to get the worship. And I think we all need to be very careful, because worship is not just on Sunday, putting our hands up when they're singing. That's not just worship. Worship is daily. Worship is in the heart. Worship is a way of life. Worship is our response. And sometimes we can worship the career because we think that the career is the provider, and we lose sight of the actual provider. Jehovah, Jireh. He didn't say Jesus. There you have it. I think there's also some amount of church hurt as well. I mean, clearly there's some amount of church hurt that's going on in there as well, because he also said that his mom has a tough time trusting churches even to this day, which is reasonable. But at some point in time, we have to get over that. And even for myself, it's like there's some things that are going on at my church right now that I'm kind of like, I am not really rocking with. I'm not really vibing with. And, I'll make the excuse of like, oh, I don't want to go to church. I'll just watch it. I'll just watch the live stream this week, because I don't want to go because I'm feeling kind of weird, and it's like, bro, make up your mind, make up your mind. Like, get into a church, be committed, be planted, be rooted, make up your mind. All this back and forth stuff, it's not helpful, So I'm in a place right now where I really need to lock in and really dive into a church community and really, sink in and be planted. But just being honest, I'm in between. Johnny Paz, $4.99. I appreciate you, Johnny. God bless you. Yeah, I learned that you can't get advice from people in the world because they will tell you to do what makes you feel good. Exactly. Every time. Oh, you feel like... I'm trying to be nice. Let me be nice. But you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.